to do us harm. One of the newest tools to identify yourself and others is called biometrics, an identity verification system that uses your physical characteristics.
Pattern of your iris.
Dr. Joseph Attic is a pioneer in biometrics.
Identity management has become a big business. If you go back 10 years ago, at this particular show, it used to be 3 tables outside a room.
Really?
It is through biometrics that we can prove that we are who we say we are.
With biometrics, you're able to create that missing link that ultimately ties in your credentials with your traits and with your data trail into what truly belongs to you, and that cannot be appropriated or misappropriated by somebody else.
At this technology trade show, we saw iris scans and palm scans, eye tracking devices, blood vessel biometrics that analyze the pattern of the vessels beneath your skin.
Let's do a capture. That's good.
This is a wireless device that the police could use at a random checkpoint. It takes your fingerprints and has software in it to do facial recognition within seconds.
Is this actually going to tell me who I am?
It's going to tell us if you have a record or not. So we'll wait and see.
There are many ways to use biometrics. Ever since the earliest days of fingerprinting in the 1800s, knowing more about a person's physical characteristics was important to law and order. In the age of international terrorism, it is no wonder that biometrics is now $1 billion business. This stuff gets more sophisticated every day.
It's a capture device that allows us to look at your face in more detail and understand what makes you unique. Who is Peter Jennings?
Right.
What's of interest to your computer are the landmarks, the tip of your nose, the eye sockets. Typically, there are about 80 landmarks of the human face. And then next, it establishes measurements between them. How far your eyes are apart from each other. How far are they relative to the tip of the nose? And that comes up with a mathematical equation that is essentially unique to you. And using that information, technology today is available to allow us to improve our accuracy of determining your identity.
I cannot imagine anything being more decisive than this, am I right?
This is where the future is heading.
In some respects, the future has arrived. Do you have any idea how much they know about you? They, the people who accumulate a mass of information about your everyday life and then mine data from 1,000 sources and sell the information to others.
Hey Michelle, this is Brad down at Clerk.
Think about the time that you called to buy a book or a sweater. As soon as your phone number pops up on that computer screen, they can instantly append a complete dossier about who lives at that phone number, who you are, your estimated income, the kind of car you drive. They know the size of your house and the value of the house.
Robert O'Hara reports on the data industry in his new book, No Place to Hide. We have collaborated on this project.
You can study what people are likely to do and what kind of attitudes they have by what they buy, how they're dressed, how you drive and where you go and the kind of car you have. It's very telling. And this is what the data analysts are doing 24 hours a day, and in many cases, they're not even doing it. It's the computer intelligence software that's deriving these conclusions.
And it's not just because of the information age.
Jennifer Barrett works for the Axiom Corporation. They collect and sell information about 96% of American households.
In our list product, we would know your name, your address. We would know something about your family's interests and your lifestyle. You know, what kind of neighborhood do you live in? What kind of activities have you said your family's interested in? Golf, cooking, music, whatever. We help a company understand their customers better.
In other words, it's about marketing. Axiom collects and manages information for credit card companies, many of the major retailers, banks, insurance companies, and the people who want to sell you a car. They use supercomputers to mine for information. Heather McDonald is a fellow at the Manhattan Institute.
And so data mining is an effort to teach computers to do the exact same analysis that a human being would if he could look at 1 million pieces of data in a second. In this aggregation of data, whether it's in the private or public sphere, there's a heck of a lot of benefits. That's why this is happening. It means that we can get credit, we can get mortgages instantaneously. We can get too much credit. We're bombarded with credit card deals. But it has made our lives much, much easier.
This has become a profitable and very competitive business. One of the biggest companies is called ChoicePoint, and Derek Smith is the CEO.
Well, the business premise behind ChoicePoint is the fact that the world's becoming a riskier place to live, work, and do business.
ChoicePoint absorbs information from 40,000 new public records every day.
Since 1997, ChoicePoint's bought more than 50 other companies, and they've got some 20 billion records on virtually every adult in America.
ChoicePoint still does background checks for corporations, but increasingly it works with the nation's intelligence agencies, looking for people who might threaten the country. Smith says that Americans have got to rethink their historic attachment to privacy.
I believe that you have the right to privacy, but not the right to anonymity. And I believe in our free society, as you seek rights and privileges in that society, then we have to know who you are. We need to establish the identity of who you are as an individual, and then for the greater good of society, be able to determine whether or not you should be extended that right or privilege.
This is an attitude that drives privacy advocate Chris Hufnagel crazy.
When Derek Smith says that people don't have a right to anonymity, he's talking about in his business model. His business model is one where everyone is identified, where everyone is fingerprinted. That's not America. The companies that collect your personal information operate in a regulatory system where they don't have to really guarantee you anything. They can take your information and sell it to other people. If law enforcement shows up and they want to know about you, they can hand over your data. They can make inferences about you and make decisions about you.
Many observers worry that private companies are not accountable in the same way that government is, and yet government is increasingly counting on these private companies. In a moment, the man behind the Matrix system.
So just to clarify, you basically made available to law enforcement all of the systems which you had devised primarily for commercial use.
I'd say we retooled them for the present threat.
Peter Jennings reporting, no place to hide.
This is Carolyn Lucas.
I'd like a grilled filet biscuit and a senior iced tea.
She lives in Sims, North Carolina, and in some ways her daily life represents what has been lost in the total information age.